I'm Jeff Brown and I teach a high school relationships class. This is my second video in the series on power in relationships. Last video we were talking about both the light side and the dark side of power. We're going to talk a little bit more about the dark side of power in this one with fear and how people use fear to control.
I don't believe that man's ever been to medical school.
And why that has a lot of downsides and side effects to it. So when you're trying to get somebody to do what you want, how do you do that?
I like your plan, except it sucks, so let me do the plan, and that way it might be really good.
How you do that is important because the kind of feelings that you use to create that can mean different things.
I know, I get that reaction a lot. I create feelings in others that they themselves don't understand. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I scare you?
Well, a little bit, but I'll be all right.
We oftentimes turn to fear when we want quick and powerful results.
Now put that thing back where it came from, or so help me!
Sometimes we'll just try to intimidate.
Which means the scare floor will be...
Painted?
empty! It'll be empty, you idiot!
What we don't see is that by doing so, we oftentimes are driving away the people that we love, and we have less and less influence and less closeness with them over time. As a short video that was put out by Brigham Young University about teaching and parenting, can talk about as well.
Puts forth all those coercive things, the threats of punishment, the actual punishments. They take on, they become a stimulus for punishment themselves. And so they no longer even have to yell or threaten or be physically abusive. The mere fact they walk into the room or down the hall, they project feelings of an individual being uncomfortable. And then they want to avoid that individual.
It is possible to project fear without even showing anger all the time. All there has to be is the threat of anger, the threat of displeasure, and many people will still be afraid. As we talked about in Canto, with Abuela, everyone was afraid of her even though she wasn't always showing these things. You can also instill a fear of other things to keep control over someone, as Mother does over Rapunzel in Tangled.
The plague.
No,
yes. Also large bugs, men with pointy teeth, and...
Rapunzel illustrates the often likely ends of using fear to try and control somebody. First of all, Rapunzel escapes from the person who is the source of her fear, and she ends up with some serious psychological issues to go along with it as well.
I am a despicable human being.
Sometimes if we're trying to control someone with fear and it doesn't work as well as we'd like it to, like with King Triton here, we think that the answer is just to add more fear.
I am going to get through to you, and if this is the only way, so be it.
This didn't work out very well for King Triton either, as it just ended up pushing Ariel away and into the arms of the Sea Witch. I'm always amazed at the number of students that tell me they're dating somebody that they're always afraid of making them upset, that this person is always telling them that they can only wear certain clothes, that they can only hang out with certain people, that they can only act certain ways. And so they always walking on eggshells around them to make sure that they never make them upset. And so there's fear that if that's the case, then they might be in a toxic relationship. So make sure that you're talking to your kids about these kind of toxic relationships also. I'm always amazed at how many tell me that they're involved in these kind of things. I'm also amazed at how many tell me that their parents are dating somebody who is toxic as well in this sort of way. So just be aware that these kind of things are good signs of that. I had one student who came and told me, said, Mr. Brown, my boyfriend told me that I can't wear this. What do I tell them? I say, you should go and say, thank you for your opinion, but it is none of your business. These are the kind of things we need to be teaching our students. Another example of control from another character going down a dark path. This person's seriously going to cause some damage.
But I'm asking you to say no. As your husband, I demand that you tell the Chancellor you are stepping down.
Demand?
And he ends up losing her in the end.
Anakin, you're breaking my heart.
I've told my students that I can't ever imagine saying to my wife, I demand you do this, or her saying to me, I demand you do this, because we don't own each other. We are both in a relationship and we care for each other and we have influence with one another, but we don't have to make those kind of decisions for each other. So it's time to be more aware if we're in a relationship where fear is part of the power dynamic, if we're causing that fear, or if we're being afraid of that kind of thing, so we can do what we need to change things and make things more healthy.
Yeah, put that thing back where it came from, or so help me. So help me, so help me. And